Hello and welcome to another update video about Bitcoin. Bitcoin just above 47k, and we closed the candle yesterday with this this hanging man pattern or hanging man candle. Yeah, so if we take a look at that, you had this so-called hammer or even hanging man pattern, even though the body got a bit larger as it would be normal. But this is typically considered a bearish reversal pattern. I mean, you had something similar here, which is not a hanging man or hammer pattern, but it still looks fairly similar. So what you had here, you came up in this uptrend, you have 2 weeks to the upside, you did have the same thing here. Then you have your first red candle on the daily here, also with a wick to the upside, where the buyers tried to, or where the sellers tried to push the price lower. The buyers bought up, but the buyers couldn't push the price higher anymore. So that means that you are already struggling to go up. You're getting exhausted. We talked about this in the last few days about the MACD, and you can still see it here on the MACD. The momentum is decreasing, so that is currently working out, and the RSI as well was close to being overbought. So even here we talked about that possible exhaustion. If you then see in addition to that a candle pattern or a candlestick which is a little bit bearish and could indicate a reversal, it's time to watch. Yeah. However, I also have to say, as long as we are above this ascending trend line, probably nothing will happen, and we could just find support here and start to move up from here. That is possible, because just because we see such a pattern, it is no guarantee that Bitcoin is turning around here. And what I also need to mention, I did tell you that even if we are breaking this trend line, I personally would not expect a massive dip now. Since we broke that 45.8k, I would expect Bitcoin establishes itself now above that level. However, we could get a bit of a retest temporarily of 45.5k or even that 45.8k, because we haven't really seen yet on the daily a retest of that level. So I'd be not surprised if we go a little bit lower here in a bit of a consolidation. That of course would affect the altcoin market. But as I said, as long as we are above this ascending trend line, the price can also very well immediately push higher. But if you lose it, then I think we are getting a bit of a retest first. So this is what we need to watch here. Today we might see a decision where the price is going to head in the next few days. So on the 4-hour chart, you can see here that the price really has hardly moved over the last few days. While this was like that, we've seen some, or really a lot of altcoins move up a lot. And however, what we can identify here is a bit of a triangle pattern, maybe a flag pattern. We always need to consider the different things. And I mean, I can't tell you if this is going to break out to the upside or not, because we are above an ascending trend line. You could even call this here a bullish flag, which is interesting considering on the daily you see a bearish reversal pattern. But in the end, we can use the lower time frame here to understand in more detail what's going on the higher time frame. And what we can identify here is certainly some sort of a triangle or even a wedge pattern, where, I mean, if it breaks up or not, out or not to the upside or not, I can't tell you that now, but we can get the understanding that there will be probably a bit of volatility today, because we are heading here, and that's the 4-hour chart, into the apex of that pattern. So if that breaks out, we can see a bit of volatility. It's not a huge pattern, but let's say we call this a wedge pattern. The target to the upside would be 48.2k. That is the beginning of the wedge, yeah. And we can also take here the height of the wedge and add it to the downside. That would be the downside target. And as I just told you, around 45.8, maybe 45.5k, that could then be the retest. So need to watch that level. We've got an ascending trend line here, so we've got a confluence of support levels here, that wedge, yeah, and then this ascending trend line. So that is very important. And we could see here some movement today. I mean, it's quite interesting. We've seen this here throughout this this uptrend that we've seen here, a move up and then consolidation. So you had another move up, consolidation, another move up, consolidation. So if it breaks out to the upside, yeah, we can certainly reach again the beginning of the wedge here at the upside. That would also be that we're going to retest again and try to break through this ascending trend line that you can see here, which forms a channel with that lower trend line. And we can also see the 200-day moving average is still very much above the Bitcoin price, which also caused Bitcoin to stop its uptrend here a little bit and enter a consolidation. I mean, we talked about a consolidation for the last few days, and maybe this is already playing out. Maybe Bitcoin doesn't need more. Yeah, but what is important, or what was important, is for Bitcoin to get the RSI down a little bit. And to be honest, it hasn't really happened a lot. It is still very, very high, which doesn't mean it couldn't push higher. But at some point, you're getting into a level where the price is just getting overheated and overbought. I mean, what is certainly worth observing, and this can change, but observe it, because if this continues like that, and you're getting here a bearish crossover on the daily MACD, this is an accelerator for the downside. On the 8-hour chart, we talked about that yesterday. We have already that bearish crossover. Yeah. Again, we had it down here on the 8-hour. That, when it hit the trend line, still led to a breakout to the upside. So Bitcoin still moved higher. And therefore, it's so important not only to consider one indicator that is so important to understand in TA, in trading, in investing, because the context here is that we are above an ascending trend line, and we also broke that 45.8k level. So also from the Elliott Wave point of view, you have more scope to the upside. And, my target area now is sitting between 55 and 65k. And I wouldn't be surprised if Bitcoin breaks this here to the upside, because generally this is the direction now. If we get a bit of a retest lower, that's just what it is. That's the daily volatility in the crypto market. But generally, I think the direction is now up until we reach here this target area where we could then turn around again. That would still be my primary expectation, and head into that lower target area here between 20 and 29k. That view hasn't changed at all. Okay, that is my view here on Bitcoin. Hopefully you liked the update. If you did, please hit the like button, leave a comment and subscribe. And if you really like the content, then check out the channel membership. Thanks a lot for watching. Bye bye.